Playing against the Luris deck. Alright. Sure thing, Brian. I'm always down to play this. I always have a lot of fun with it. And there's nothing wrong with just playing Magic cards you like, you know? Entreat the Dead in Legacy? Oh, man. Bump in the Night me. Okay. I think I want to play Stoneforge Mystic because this prevents my opponent from playing... I mean, so it doesn't prevent them from playing a Scourge, but turn 1 Bump in the Night makes me think they're going to try to play a turn 2 Scourge, but now they kind of have to kill this instead. What happened to Blue-Green Reckon Pioneer? I just haven't been that interested in Pioneer, but that's mostly because I think Modern is really good right now, and it's, I guess, less because like Pioneer is bad, just Modern's been really good. This is the second Dono deck. The second Dono deck. Only one more in the queue. They bolt me. Maybe they're gonna like skewer Stoneforge. Yeah. Okay. That's fine, I think. I kind of like playing another Stoneforge, but I think I'm gonna Spreading Seas instead. It's possible this isn't correct. I'm just getting a little zeroed in. But, you know, the Stoneforge is not very likely to survive. But, you know, next turn, if Stoneforge dies, we just get to hardcast the Batterskull, which is kind of nice. I think Pioneer and Modern have more direct competition than Modern and Legacy. I don't think really that any two formats have too much competition with each other besides maybe Pioneer and Historic, because they feel very similar design spaces. I think that for the most part, players just kind of pick a format they like and stick with it for a while. And just because the formats are like similar, you know, not similar in the card pool, but similar, you know, because they're, you know, they're closer together, I don't think actually matters all that much. At least that's my perception. Maybe I'm wrong. I sometimes wake up and say burn sounds fun. I used to play a decent amount of burn back in the day. I always felt like burn is a good palate cleanser when you're not sure what to play. Just play a League of Burns, see what the people are playing, and refresh your brain a bit. Could Cryptic this Bolt. I think I'd rather like Shark Typhoon and block the guide. Is it a historic boon that's put Pio on the back burner? Well, I think it's like... I thought the Pioneer was really, really good before Theros came out, and then Uro, Thassa's Oracle, Underworld Breach, and Heliod got printed into Pioneer, which dominated the metagame for a really long time. And then other really good cards were printed into Standard, so once those cards were banned, now, you know, it's my understanding that, like, Omnath is, like, super duper popular, and that card's not very fun to play against either. I don't know. I think that probably not enough people are playing Pioneer to even have a fleshed out metagame, to be honest. I think that Pioneer was also meant to be a good GP format. I think Pioneer was a really good GP format, and I really enjoyed the one GP I played, even though... Wait, huh? Oh, sacrifice a land. I thought it was sacrifice a mountain. We were at 3 life. Can I draw a Force of Negation? Cannot. All right, pretty exciting. Maybe I fucked up by not crypticking the bolts. I feel like we'd be dead if they had drawn a burn spell. Yeah, like, I mean, I don't think that Pioneer can never be good again. Like, Modern has gone through long periods of being bad in the past. Long periods of being bad. Like, I wasn't a big fan of Modern around the time Pioneer first came out. I really felt like the Urza decks were not very fun to play against. Oko was around kind of in that time frame, and you know, I wasn't a big fan of the Faithless Looting format, just further driving the wedge in between Sodek and I guess. All right, so I think that I would probably side out Dragonlord Ojutai if this wasn't a Dragonlord Ojutai Dono deck, but I would never do that to Brian in this spot. I think I want like 3 Typhoon, 1 Time Raveler. I guess they're probably playing Scourge, so maybe I would rather play more Time Ravelers and less Sharks. No, Brian. I know that you don't really want me to sign out any copies, and I won't do it. I think we should, but I'm not going to. It's Dono Deck Thursday. We can have some fun, you know? I do think that on Thursdays, fun is the priority, and I really enjoy that aspect of today. Wasn't the looting ban right before Pioneer? I'm trying to... It's all... I'm not sure exactly the timeline, but... I think that you're right, but I also didn't enjoy Modern very much immediately after the looting ban, or maybe immediately after it was good, but then I wasn't a big fan of the Urza, Oko, Imri decks. I thought that those decks were pretty unfun. And I believe that those became dominant pretty quick after looting. Maybe there was like a time frame in between the two. The looting ban was summer. There's a Dragonlord Ojutai on top. Hell yeah. I'm going to condemn the Goblin Guide, I think. Do I think Boros or Rakdos Burn is better? I don't know. I think Scourge is really good. I'm assuming these decks are playing Scourge. But I'm not sure. But I thought Modern was good after the Opal ban, even though I still wish that they had banned I guess we play Stoneforge here, but I'm not like super thrilled if they with this turn, I guess. Sorry, I lost my train of thought again. Keep doing that today. Yeah, sorry. I thought Modern was good after the Searing Blood, after the Opal ban, but I wish they had banned Urza instead. And then there were problems until the Astrolabe ban, and I have, I think, really liked Modern ever since the Astrolabe ban. I think I'm just gonna Spreading Seas the Blood Crypt here, and then Path their Swift Spear, of course. Yeah, I still think that I would have rather banned Urza than Opal, but whatever. We're past it. FD1, excellent choice of lands, thanks. I've been really liking these a lot lately. I've been trying to mix it up a bunch because I was just playing with the unhinged ones for so long. I wish they had just banned Modern Horizons. Said sorry and tried again. I don't know, like Urza, Hogak, Rin and 6, and Astrolabe were maybe design mistakes. Although I'm not even sure I agree with I'm not even sure I agree with Rin and 6 being a mistake. But yeah, there are definitely mistakes made. But I liked a lot of cards that came out of Modern Horizons, like Sunbait Canyon, Force of Negation, other cards. There are other cards. Soul Herder is a big one. I love Soul Herder. I like Ice Fang, but not with Astrolabe. There were a lot of hits for Modern Horizons. And I think overall, now that we've banned like Hogak, Astrolabe, and Opal, most of the problems that were made by Modern Horizons, I think, have been fixed. Giver of Runes, yeah, Giver of Runes is a really good one. Okay, I'm going to slam Batterskull and hope my opponent doesn't have a burn spell, but they almost definitely do. Whatever. Seasoned Pyromancer, that was a good one. Yeah, Rin and 6 was a mistake for Legacy. I agree with that. I agree with that for sure. All right, not quite dead. Good to know about this one. Ephemerate was a mistake. I disagree. I think Archmage's Charm was a huge one from Horizons. I love that card. I like Ephemerate a lot too, by the way. I think Ephemerate's a good card. I don't think it's too good. I think that it is kind of the boon that ETB effects needed. Like Soul Herder type decks. If Soul Herder type decks are more so Ephemerate decks than Soul Herder decks, at least in their current form. How did I forget to bring in the Purge? How am I forgetting Charm? I don't know. I guess I kind of forgot it was Modern Horizons. Plague Engineer is very oppressive. kind of interesting because there aren't very many Plague Engineers running around right now. But I agree that Plague Engineer is a little too pushed, potentially. But Plague Engineer is also the kind of card, it's kind of like Rest in Peace, where if there are too many Rest in Pieces, nobody plays Dredge, and so then Rest in Peace isn't a good sideboard card if nobody's playing it. And then kind of the same way, if nobody's playing, sorry, if nobody's playing tribal decks, you don't want Plague Engineer in your sideboard. Yeah, so yeah, I think that Jim Davis suggested making Plague Engineer legendary and symmetrical, and I think that's probably a good fix to it. Or maybe one or the other. Yeah, that's good. That's a good thing to bring up. Service is, you know, I tend to like high power level sets, and I tend to like Magic to change a lot when new sets come out, and I know not everyone agrees with that idea, but that's how I like Magic to change a lot. And I tend to like higher power level cards. Yeah, Yawgmoth was very cool. It's still cool. I wish I had more clout when I built the deck. What do you think Price of Progress would do to Modern? I don't know. Probably not good things, but I can dream, I guess. There's the Scourge. Gonna Condemn it this turn. Hold up Snare. So we can Condemn the Goblin Guide. They have 2 Goblin Guides. They didn't play a Goblin Guide on turn 1. I guess that was so they could play Scourge. Oh, this doesn't shrink the Scourge, yeah. Okay, so I think I'm going to, this turn, just Condemn and Gust. Yeah, Lava Dart, also, I think a fine addition to Modern. There's a unicorn I did a draft with my friends recently. There's a mono white unicorn that does that from Jumpstart that's actually like kind of great. I think I want to Condemn so that way I don't have to fetch and shock to play Condemn plus Gust next turn. There's another Gust on top. I guess with them being low on resources, maybe Swift Spear is worse than Goblin Guide here. Not 100% sure. Yeah, I'm not sure what the card is called. Yeah, it flickers. It's a 4-mana 4/4. You can pay 3 mana to flicker a card, and other creatures enter with a +1 counter, and if that creature is a unicorn, it's 2 +1 counters. And it was my pack 1 pick 1. And I won the draft, and I won this demonic tutor painting. Alright, so if we don't block with Stoneforge Mystic, we are dead to a burn spell. Force of Negation's on top. Hell yeah, it's so good for us. Okay, so I'm gonna block and then chump block. Oh, sorry, block and then Gust. And I think I'd rather Gust the Guide. Say that 5 times fast. Jumpstart didn't do enough. You want 1,000 times more unicorns. Can't complain about that, I guess. Everybody has a favorite tribe in Magic, I think. I'm not sure what mine is. It used to be elves. It used to be spirits. They put the Goblin Guide on top. I think that's really good for us. As long as they don't have like a Smash to Smithereens or a Fatal Push as their last card. They do not. I think we just win. We don't just win, but we're drawing Force of Negation, so feeling really good, at least. You can put a Batterskull on Dragonlord Ojutai. Kithkin's a pretty good tribe. I feel like I'm forgetting a tribe that I like a lot. You don't want to return to Condemn? Not really, I don't think. think I'd rather have a Gust than a Condemn. Their creatures just don't matter all that much, I think, in this spot. Alright, I'll get a little greedy and pitch the Gust, because this is, you know, Dragonblade. Force of Negation gets a little worse when Rolling Vortex is in play. But it's nice to exile it for Lurrus, of course. So I'm going to attack with my Batterskull, go up to 8, and then slam the Ojutai. You can equip it next turn and have the old 9/8 Hexproof Vigilant creature. Their only card right now is Goblin Guide, I think. They might have shuffled, actually. I can't remember. They also have Bump in the Night in the yard, I guess. Fairies is a good tribe. Fairies is a good tribe. My very first Magic deck ever was Intruder Alarm Elves. Intruder Alarm Elves. With Beck and Call and Forbidden Orchard. It was really, really cool. It was really, really cool. Bob is probably a sideboard card. Looks really good here. Yeah, Batterskull plus Dragonlord Ojutai is Splinter Twin. I think no matter what I draw here, I'm just going to equip. Kind of for the memes, I guess. Yeah. This is, you know, maybe it's better to play an interactive spell here. I don't know, just put them to 2 with a Bob in play is not bad. And now we can actually path the Lurrus. The revealed Rift Bolt and die. Greatness at any cost, even if that cost is revealing Rift Bolt. How did I win? We won 12 matches in a row yesterday. I didn't need to path first to thin their deck because they were going to draw Rift Bolts. If I had path first, maybe they weren't going to draw Rift Bolt. Checkmate. Opponent reveal Lurrus. I think we can play the Prairie Stream tapped pretty freely. Wizards is interesting, but I don't think there's like a Wizards payoff that I like a lot besides maybe like Arcane Laboratory. Whatever the land is that lets you bounce a wizard, I really like that card. I do like Vendilion Click. I'm not a big fan of Mistbind though. It's okay. Budget Shark Typhoon replacement. There's still 4 sharks in the deck. Still 4 sharks in the deck. Do we play Elves? Oh, we played the Mazebind Tome first, and then Elves is next, which is exciting. How did I not mention that we're actually just playing Elves next league? Which I'm excited for. It's not the challenge winning list, but Elves is definitely, I have a soft spot for it in my heart. We have Fairy All-Star Sprite Dragon. I like Sprite Dragon, but it's not like a tribal payoff, I guess. When I think about tribal decks and cards I like from tribal decks, I usually tend to think of like what are you getting paid off for being in that tribe. All right, Scourge is going to be a little tricky potentially. I'm going to force this, I think. Although I'm going to draw 2 cards almost definitely this turn, so maybe I want to draw 2 before I force. Just I don't know what I'd be forcing, what I'd be pitching over force. Oh, this is worse because now it grows the Shadow. It doesn't grow. Sorry, it doesn't grow the Scourge if they can't pay any life. Riptide Laboratory. Hey, I know it's the, if Riptide Laboratory were modern legal, you'd see me play it. You would definitely see me play it. We could have Force Bolt. I don't think it would be good to Force Bolt. We have fetch lands we're going to pay life. I actually kind of think the sequencing was bad because we just take an extra point of damage, and I'm just not sure what card we pitch over Force that we draw. Riptide is gonna be legal. I would love to see Riptide Laboratory in Modern Horizons. It probably won't even be that good because Mystic Sanctuary is so good, but I would love to play it. Okay, didn't get punished. Oh right, they thought seize the. Wait, hold on. Okay, sorry. I thought that this was another Spreading Seas. Oops. Confused myself. I kind of just want to bounce the Scourge. Yeah, let's just see if this is all we're taking. It's like they don't have red mana. They might be stumbling. Pathing and giving them red mana seems a little loose. So we can like maybe end of turn bounce the Scourge into Remand plus Charm next turn. So yeah, Spreading Seas plus Blood Creep is a Splinter Twin. I think we can probably loosen our very rigid definition of Splinter Twin. It's becoming looser and looser every day. I guess if they have a Apostle's Blessing, they'll cast it here. Seems like I don't know why they'd be even thinking about it. Maybe they're thinking about pushing their own Scourge to deny a card draw. Yeah, they have Apostle's Blessing. It's fine. It's fine, he says through gritted teeth. We can counter another Apostle's Blessing, so I'm going to path on their turn. Ojutai has triggered, yeah. With an equipped Batterskull, too. It's not the most mana efficient to do this, but I think we were supposed to. Out of Mystic Sanctuaries, too. Might be able to Field of Ruin plus Cryptic, which I think is better than playing Strand to get like a tapped Fountain here. I don't think that they're going to make Harry Potter cards. Maybe they will. I just never am able to predict what Wizards is going to do these days. But I don't think that they will. They still have 5 cards in their hand. It's a lot. They were going to do it. It's kind of surprising. I don't really keep up with that kind of stuff, you know. I get all of my Magic news from Twitch chat. Just really not that invested, I guess. I kind of feel like we need to draw 2 cards with this charm instead of steal the Swift Spear. I mean, they might make Harry Potter cards. I'm definitely not going to buy any of them. I don't think I'd ever buy a Secret Lair in general. I tend to not like reprints very much, anyways. The Doggo Secret Lair. Guess that was a good one. The Walking Dead Secret Lair was in works for a long time, 7 years. That would explain why it's The Walking Dead, which is like... The Walking Dead has just, I feel like, been so irrelevant, and I haven't watched The Walking Dead in a long time, but I remember the last time I watched it, I remember not liking it very much, because for a lot of different reasons, I guess, but there's a lot you can be critical of The Walking Dead show, but the show also just hasn't been very good for a while, I think is or at least my take on it. Yeah, a joyless cash grab. I think that might be the words I used. Like for the first ever, maybe not the first ever because they did the Godzilla, but for the first ever mechanically unique cards where they're like super divisive and controversial to some extent, to a big extent, I guess. Why for The Walking Dead? Why is this what we're going out to bat for? Well, the My Little Pony cards were silver bordered, but you are right that those exist. All right, I think I want a 3/3 shark enough that I'll go to 2 off of the Swift Spear and save my Teferi Time Raveler. I don't know. It's just I know that there are reasons why. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Okay, so we can either go to 1, or we can and make them sack a mountain, or we can just exile the lava dart now. We have to do one of those two things. I think 1 is greater than 0. That's my thought process there. I did the math. We have only one more deck in the dono queue today. It is Green-Black Elves. Plays a Shadow. Okay. I think that I want to get Sword of Fire and Ice, kill Monastery Swift Spear, and chump block the Shadow with Stoneforge Mystic. Because we're dead to a burn spell anyways. And they don't usually play like Fatal Push to the main deck. And this kills them next turn. And we could draw Remand. I don't know. Yeah, not really anything we can draw here, I guess, to make the situation better for us. So we lose to any Temur Battle Rage, Lightning Bolts, Apostle's Blessing. We don't lose to Scourge. We don't lose to Luris. We don't lose to Monastery Swift Spear by itself. Yeah. Close game. Spell Snare, yeah, that would have been the draw. Alright, so things get better post-board. Get to bring in the Purges and the Condemn, or the Purge and the Condemns, rather. Verdict is okay against them. I'm not sure that I'm going to bring it in. I don't like Force. I don't like Remand in this matchup. I think that I like 2 Aether Gusts, but they have enough black cards that, you know, Gust has diminishing returns for sure. I think I'll play the Verdict and submit and use the restroom. Be right back. Okay, on the play. 61 cards. 61 card special. I definitely do that from time to time. It's thunder snowing here in Minnesota. That is a new word to a Texan like me. Thunder snowing. Maybe a few too many typhoons, hard to say for sure. GG's, GG's. It's like normal snow, but angrier. I'm happy that Athena doesn't get too bothered by thunderstorms. It just kind of wakes her up, but she's not really afraid of them. She's not really afraid of anything. Except me finding her eating trash. Toby won 8 months in a row. Hope you're having a good day today, dude. Appreciate ya. 8 months is a long time. It's a lot of 0 mana prowess triggers, but can they deal with my Swifts or with my Stoneforge? This was a good turn 2 they've had. This is a above average turn 2, I'd say. Our draws haven't been perfect. How's Ojutai been? It's been fine. You know, it's not better than Jace, but that's what this deck is. Cutting Jace for Ojutai. But on Dono Deck Thursday, we just have a good time and play sweet cards rather than necessarily good ones. Well, we also have Archmage's Charm Fran for triple blue, but maybe you're right. You have 3 charms and 1 verdict. I think we're definitely not supposed to shock, and we can't get Prairie Stream either. Getting Basic Island also lets us fetch Prairie Stream if we draw another fetch. What faced only red aggro decks so far? In this league, yeah. I live in Western Mass. I don't think I've ever heard that term to describe the Midwest, but it's very true. I'm just saying because you have way more blue sources drawn to than white. That's fair. I still think you want to get Island here because of Prairie Stream, Archmage Charm. And it's like we need to draw another land anyways for Verdict. But we could draw Archmage Charm immediately and it would be pretty good. I wonder if Dream Troll would be better. You just can't play 6 mana threats that aren't Primeval Titan, I think. Or Shark Typhoon. Can you play 5 mana threats? No. But we are today. I mean, if you want to have the best threat in that spot, it should be Jace the Mind Sculptor. It's 4 mana. Not describing Midwest, I'm describing Western Massachusetts. Ah, I see. Rural and gay sounds like a pretty good combo. But yeah, I thought the West Mass was, you know, just the Midwest, just all flat. They took a Shark Typhoon over Aether Gust or Batterskull? Weird. I mean, not incorrect. Shark Typhoon's a pretty good card, but I guess not what I was expecting. And they kill Teferi instead of dealing me 3, which is something else I like here. I can't say rule. The Roger. I can never say that word. The ruler. Rural. I think I'm just not going to play into Lightning Bolts and Gust of Soulscar Mage and try to cycle into Batterskull. They also missed their land drops, so they have at least 4 spells in hand, which if I had to say was good or bad, I'd say bad. Yeah, that's just my Athena imitation. I'm not trying to say rural. Athena, who still hasn't... Athena usually transitions her nap, and my room is usually, or this room is usually the last spot on the nap cycle. I have no idea, Chico. I very rarely look at league results. This is not a sign of strength at all here. I guess it is, 3 damage. Pass it back. Yeah, I agree that they probably have another TBR in hand there, and I'm not sure exactly what else, of course. Kind of hoping that they cast another one here. Okay, I'm gonna go 6. I don't think we're beating 2 bolts anyways. This is kind of fine. This is like maybe the least scary thing they could have done. I kind of want to steal the Swift Spear and then put a sword on it and hit him with it. But then what are we discarding? Maybe I'll cycle Shark Typhoon instead. This gives us a better chance at hitting them with a sword. And then maybe gives me something else to discard. I'll discard that, I think. Their hand is so bad. I'm surprised it's this bad. Maybe they have 3 drops too. If we draw a land, we can go sword into Batterskull maybe. Definitely going to start with the sword, I think. But do I want to play Batterskull? Because they could definitely have just answers to equipment in their hand. Yeah, they could have Shadow in their hand too. They probably have another Temur Battle Rage. I think I'm just going to hold up mana for a turn. They could have push too. They could definitely have push. One of the cards was a shadow. It's been a good game. They had such a good start. They went turn 1 Soulscar Mage, turn 2 Swift Spear, Bobble, Bolt my Stoneforge. On Earth could be a card they have, yeah. I think we found the best line in response to that Kroxa, but it was tough. We had a lot of choices there. We maybe could have discarded Shark Typhoon and stolen Swift Spear with Charm instead, but then we wouldn't have drawn the Field of Ruin. We would have drawn Supreme Verdict. On Earth targeting Kroxa? It's like super fine, I think. I think I'm just going to discard Batterskull. I'm just not tapping out for Batterskull this game. Okay, so if they have Apostle's Blessing, we die. I mean, we can just take 2. We can just take 2. Being at 4 is fine. And we'll just see what they do about this. If they have Apostle's Blessing, they go down to 7, and then they can't crack their Marsh Flats. They're going to braid my sword. It's fine, I guess. If they have Blessing plus spell, they kill me. Only if I steal the Swift Spear in combat. We just did it end of turn. I think we're supposed to Cryptic this. I think that this is probably the one card they didn't have in hand last turn. Or that they had in hand last turn. Makes sense for them to have had one this long. It's not definitely the card, I guess. Another Kroxa. Kroxa looks pretty embarrassing. I'm going to discard Stoneforge. If we can just find another spell to play off Spreading Seas, we win. And this also stops them from escaping Kroxa, even if they draw a land next turn. Okay. This is Dragonblade. We're not going to not cast it. And I also don't think they can ever beat it. I have to cast it, I think. I think that's the rule of the Dono deck. That is a lot of Kroxas. I think that the first Rest in Peace is probably good. I think I'm gonna trim the Sword of Fire and Ice too. Kind of a flex spot in this matchup. Noakes 11, 5 months in a row. Hope you're having a good day today, bud. Appreciate you. We already have gotten Batterskull and Ojutai this league in match 1. Alright, let's keep this. We have to put the Ojutai back with this hand, but this hand's solid. That was game 2. Yeah, we do have a Minamo. Alright, turn 1 Mage. I would love to draw an untapped land so we can condemn the Mage. Yeah, we are playing Minamo. Which I might Spreading Seas. I'm just kidding, but it is a little awkward with the Sanctuary. We could just go like Condemn into Seas, tap land. Spreading Seas is definitely better on the play. I hope that my opponent plays a Mishra's Bauble. I guess they're just not. They can still play a Scourge even if we condemn the Scourge. Thoughtseize. No, this is the second one, Panda. I think this has just been a really long match. They took a Spreading Seas, which I'm pretty happy about. And they're playing Bauble, which I'm not sure is correct, because this means they gain 4 life if we condemn the Mage. Maybe they just don't attack with Mage. Kind of like that play. So I gotta respond to Esther's text. Kind of think that they shouldn't attack. Okay. If they were going to attack, they shouldn't have played the Bauble, because now they just gain one more life, which makes their Scourges and Shadows worse. Unless they think that their life total is important. Or maybe this is a full art Condemn and they don't know that it gains them life. Or maybe they have Apostle's Blessing, of course. Of course. They're down to one card though. What deck I played in the morning? Blue-White Miracles with Mazemind Tome. I ended up... So my opinion on that right now is that Mazemind Tome isn't a replacement for Omen. It's more so just like a kind of an extra card advantage-y Planeswalker type effect rather than a like Miracle Enabler or Counterbalance Enabler. That's how it felt at least. But it didn't feel bad to me. I guess they are going to go up to 3 cards. Do you play that? They're kind of light on cards. I think I'd rather just Spreading Seas. I think Stoneforge Mystic is, pretty vulnerable in this matchup. Does Spike ever play black or green? I often, I've played a lot of Jund on this channel, and we're playing black-green elves next. So yeah, both. I like every color in Magic, really. Blue is my favorite, but I don't have like such a huge bias towards it. I'm unwilling to play anything else. Alright, let's bounce the Shadow. Can maybe go Spreading Seas plus Stoneforge next turn, which could be fine. Need to draw an untapped land. Minamo is really being bad here. Would Treasure Map be better than Mazemind? No, I don't think so. The fact that the Scry 1 cost in mana is really, really bad in my opinion. Yeah, my opponent's just been like, I think, in the tank a normal amount of time. I tend to make decisions in Magic before I actually have to make them, so my clock is usually higher than my opponent's. I really want to Mystic Sanctuary back this Condemn, so glad we drew this too. They have no colored mana, which is nice. Yeah, I just usually make my decisions on my opponent's turn, so when I actually make the decisions, they go really quick. But yeah, Spreading Seas ourselves was maybe the play, but also Spreading Seas, their Blood Crypts, I think is just too good to pass up on. Alright, I'm not going to play around Mutagenic Growth. Growth is like really bad for us anyways if they have it. Okay, so our play this turn is going to be put a Batterskull into play, cycle Typhoon for 0, I think no matter what. So we might as well cycle and see if we can find an island to get back Condemn at a later date, I think. And we also have the Splinter Twin that is Dragonlord Ojutai plus Minamo. No, we do not want to field them. We do not want to give them colored mana. I don't know, my D&D turns can be pretty convoluted. I don't know that I'm actually good to play D&D with. Especially like in my actual D&D game, not my Pathfinder game. I'm a melee sorcerer, and I'm using a lot of my turns can go pretty long because I haste myself a lot and have a lot of meta magic options. It can get pretty tedious, I think. Yeah, these are still non-basic lands for field. It's pretty risky to not have an answer up for Shadow here, especially when we're so far ahead. But we also have this, I feel like, obligation to cast Dragonlord Ojutai when we can. I think I'd rather steal Shadow. I'm not going to do it now when they can have a Blessing up. That's like the only spell they can cast. I think our opponent has been playing at a perfectly reasonable rate. I just am a fast player. Okay, so let's block with the Germ, I think, and then steal, and then Path. So they have to have 2 blessings to get out of this. Maybe I'm supposed to Path the Shadow. Yeah, if we path the shadow, we win the game. So it's probably good to do so, huh? No, I cited out my Sword of Fire and Ice. I cited out my Sword of Fire and Ice, but I was gonna go Stoneforge, activate Stoneforge, equip. I mean, we're still gonna do that and put them to 1. You just make them chump block. And the shadow's dying anyways because of the life gain. And I also really don't want to path them. Yeah, but the dragon. The problem is we're not going to get to connect with the dragon anyways because they're going to concede first. Doesn't path mage win? Yeah. Just had fancy lad syndrome. Well, when I first saw the line of path Stoneforge or path shadow get Sword of Fire and Ice hit them, I thought that was definitely a kill to path the shadow. And usually when I see a line that I think 100% win the game, I just take the line and I stop thinking. But when I cast the path, I forgot that I had sighted out the sword. But if I had remembered, it would have been better to path the shadow. But usually if I'm thinking about lines, as soon as my brain hits one that 100% wins the game, not that I'm always right, but as soon as it hits one that 100% wins, I just stop thinking. I don't consider anything else. Snap keep, I think. We have Ojutai, we have Stoneforge Mystic, we have Teferi. Whoops. Accidentally clicked Mulligan. Another third Lurrus deck in a row. I'm gonna put back Shark Typhoon. If we draw a blue card in the top 2, like having 2 forces up for Stoneforge is probably something we're interested in. Which is kind of weird. If they cast a discard spell and turn 1, I'll force it. Yeah. Force is like really only important in this matchup for protecting Stoneforge Mystic, so it did its job there. Remember when blue-white control was a joke? Why did this deck come back? I mean, it's a combination of Stoneforge Mystic, Mystic Sanctuary, Archmage Charm, Force of Negation, Jason the Mind Sculptor, Teferi Time Raveler. Lots of good cards. Yeah, this is the third red-black Scourge deck in a row, although the first one was more of a burn variant. That was like playing Bump in the Night. Yeah, the modern format's kind of slow at the moment, too. Yeah, Dismember, okay. They dismembered off the canyon, which means they have a shadow in their hand. I'm not going to steal or path it yet, just a 1/1. So we want to unban Twin and Pod. I think that Twin and Pod would basically be tier 1 decks overnight. And I think that, you know, I talk about this a lot. I like to be pretty conservative when I think about what I might like or not like to unban. And I don't like the idea of unbanning a card that would, you know, Twin would be a tier 1 deck immediately, I think. And I think that Pod, especially with Yawgmoth, Devoted Druid, Vizier, would also be a tier 1 deck almost immediately, and I don't like that. I think that, oh, whoops, damn it, Minamo. I think that you want your unbanned cards to not be super impactful, because if you ever unban a card and then have to ban it and then have to put it back on the ban list, I think that's one of the worst things that can happen to any format. Yeah, it's like Pod has gotten so many new tools, and so has Twin. You will forgive me if I pitch Oceanic Force. Okay, cool. We haven't done it yet, I don't think. The Batterskull is so nice. It trades with the Scourge here. But I don't think I can not play Ojutai. Oh, we did the TBR? I don't think so. I mean, this is we got paid to play Ojutai. We even have the Minamo. Pod too strong. I mean, Pod didn't have Devoted Druid, Vizier, or Yawgmoth, and Yawgmoth plays so nicely with Pod because all the creatures you play with Yawgmoth are undying. You just have so many tools with Pod now that I think that it would be a tier 1 deck immediately. If, you know, there's a difference between unbanning a card and having it be like busted and oppressive in the format, and also, you know, just a tier 1 deck immediately. And I think that they have Gust plus TBR. They had growth TBR. That is disgusting. We're dead to TBR if I don't block with Ojutai. I mean, there's nothing we can do here. I mean, I guess what we could have done is Mystic is not... No, we couldn't have gotten Path back with Sanctuary no matter what line we took. Okay, I don't think I'm going to bring in Rest in Peace until I see like a million Croxus like our opponent showed us the other game. Although I think I do like sliding out the Sophie and the Remands, and I think I want to leave in 1/4s to protect Stoneforge maybe. Yogg is better than Vizier combo. Yeah, probably, but the thing is you just have access to both, so there are multiple new like 2-card combos, 3-card combos that Yawgmoth has access to. Like Pod never got to play with Devoted Druid Vizier, and it hasn't gotten to play with Yawgmoth. Is Feldar Guardian combo better than Twin in the Omnath deck? I mean, in the Omnath deck, yeah. But, I mean, that deck plays all at sorcery speed anyways, and has like a lot of ETB effects, so Sahelia and Feldar Guardian are good with those. Like I should say it's better than playing the Splinter Twin combo in that deck, but it's still not better than the I think Twin is better than that combo in other decks for sure. Going to 5. Stinks. 5 on the play in this matchup is bad. you know Troll should stay banned. Yes, it should. Can you imagine if they unbanned Golgari Grave Troll and then they had to ban it again if they unbanned it a second time? There's no way they should do that. Oh my gosh. That would be wild. Again unban Golgari Grave Troll. What a sick rip. Yeah, I think Golgari Grave Troll was the only unban in Modern I ever felt like was a real mistake. They boarded in Soul Guide Lantern, which is not very good against me. I only have 2 Mystic Sanctuaries as cards that care about the graveyard. Alright, that's a 1/1 Scourge, which trades with my 1/1 Shark. Land. Dude, I would love to win on a Mold of 5 here. On the play, too. Did they keep 7? Yeah. Wow, our draw is really, really shaped up well. Hopefully they don't have an answer to my skull. Either my Batterskull or my literal skull. I mean, Wild Mikado was pre-banned, which is a little different, I think. Just a little different. They're going to dismember the skull, which I think is a misplay, because I'm just going to equip this, which kills the Scourge and puts them to 1. Yeah, I didn't like that play very much. Is the no attack playing around Shadow? The no attack, I can just block the Scourge if they can't deal damage to me. That's what it's playing around, is just being able to block. Their Scourge was a 1/1. We won on a Mold of 5 on the play, which is really, really good. It doesn't happen very often in these matchups. It was a good Mold of 5 for sure, and you know, that is why I like the London Mulligan so much, is that it used to be you Mold of 5, you just had such a small chance of winning in matchups like this, and the reality is in Magic the Gathering, you Mold of 5. some amount of the time. Sand would be so good if it had an untapped white source. But we can field for white and cast Condemn on turn 3. I'm going to keep this on the draw. Like, Condemn is really good against them. I think Ojutai is good against them, and we have 4 lands. And they are a Thoughtseize deck, and Mulliganing is not good against them. Do I think they should focus on formats for the Pro Tour, like bring back Modern? Yeah, I do think they should. I think Wizards has a lot of formats and a player base that likes different formats, and advertising all of the different ones I think is good for the game. Modern Pro Tours also tend to be more popular than Standard Pro Tours anyways, but, Standard is their moneymaker for the most part. They've drawn both basics. Sorry, I shouldn't say both. Sometimes they play 2 mountains, but a lot of times they just play 1 of each, and so this Field of Ruin could get them. I'm just gonna jam Stoneforge Mystic here, which is not gonna live, but that's fine. Like we just get the Batterskull into our hand. We can hard cast it at some point. What is the best Ojutai shell in Modern? Probably this one. I mean, probably this one. I played a version with Sprite Dragon a little while ago, just like to have, 2 dragons for Silumgar's Scorn, but that was also a Dona deck also for Brian. I think Force to gain 6 life is fine. Let's get a sword. They only have 3 cards in their hand. Their Scourge is only a 2/2. Swift Spear. We have Push. I guess I'll play around Mutagenic Growth. Alright, they don't have Fatal Push in their hand. They would have played it. So we can play Sword onto Stoneforge and Equip, but it seems safer to me to just put in Batterskull and hold up Path. And Batterskull may just be able to kill a Scourge like by gaining life here. It's kind of a bummer. We're not in the worst shape ever. They might. It's also really good for us that they are maybe like 50-50 to have a land here. Yeah, there's no land to get. Yeah, we're in fine shape. Bounce Batterskull. Kind of feel like this was better. Maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, we should have bounced Batterskull. I think we could have taken the hit to keep the skull. I mean, both lines are going to win. Field of Ruin cannot target basic lands, so we can't field them here. Do we lose to Mutagenic Growth plus Temur Battle Rage? We do. That has to be their exact 2 cards, but it definitely could be. Their Swift Spear attack kind of indicated Mutagenic Growth the other turn. They're also pausing, kind of makes me... Oh, sorry, they conceded. They conceded. I can see it in the chat. Okay, 3-0. 3-0 with Dragonlord Ojutai in Modern. Is Ojutai broken in Stoneblade? I can't... I don't know. Question mark, question mark, question mark. Must be. We're 3-0. Is it the best card in Modern? Maybe? No Luris this time. Got a mulligan this hand, even though it does have the Splinter Twin combo of Batterskull plus Luris, or Batterskull plus Ojutai. I'm going to keep the Batterskull in this hand. I do think that Batterskull is... It's nice to have the Batterskull in your hand already, because a lot of matchups are about, putting a sword on a Batterskull. Like, Dredge, Goblins, Humans... Remember Oops All Spells, what happened to that deck? The metagame adjusted to it. That deck was very vulnerable to Graveyard Hate and Torpor Orb and Archmage's Charm. The deck was really good, I think, when nobody knew how to play against it. Let me get Sword of Feast and Famine against Tap Breeding Pool on turn 1. 2 breeding pools, huh? If I had so assuming my opponent does nothing, I would, and I had another land, I would cycle Shark Typhoon maybe and put the sword on that. Maybe not. Okay, Teamer. Could be 4 color. Yeah, I don't think Oops All Spells is gone. I think that Oops All Spells will continue to be a deck in Modern. Land is such a good draw. Jeez. If they bounce my... It's so bad if we go for the Feast and Famine equip and they have Cryptic. I think we can wait. Now, I don't really think there's a high chance that I activate Stoneforge Mystic this turn, so I'll attack with Stoneforge. Yeah, I mean, it's really bad for us if they have Cryptic, but we're just like in, I think, decent shape if we don't go for it here. Like we have, you know, a lot of cards up here. And they are a deck that has usually a lot of threats to tap out for. And so I think that we can get them to tap out for something at some point and then get them. Yeah, I don't think Rin 6 matters enough to counter it. They also have 2 breeding pools, so their Field of the Dead is worse. I will attack the Rin. You also get to make a Shark if we don't counter it and still just have the Charm up for something scarier. Like an Hour of Promise. We can Spreading Seas either Blast Zone or Field now. As soon as we play this, our opponent knows what's up. Yeah, still just holding up my mana here. So I'll attack the Batterskull at Rin, the Shark and the Stoneforge at my opponent. I mean, you joke, but Standard looks kind of fun right now. I'm kind of interested in trying it out. I think that because I play a lot of Modern, people think I have some kind of like disdain for Standard, but I just don't. I've spent a lot of time grinding paper Standard tournaments, and I'm sure that there will be a Standard format I really like again at some point. I think it's better to get the Blast Zone. Like, there's still 2 lands away from triggering Field, and we have Sword of Feast and Famine and Sharks, which can just kind of fly over or ignore Field. If they spend 2 mana to counter the Charm, we win, I think. Yeah. So I hope that they do that. Need to put a sale on the Standard Point Redemption. That's another thing, though, is if I play Standard, it's not going to be on stream. I don't like to play formats that I'm not. I don't like to stream with a deck I'm not knowledgeable on, or a deck I haven't worked on necessarily, or I don't want to just be streaming myself figuring out Standard for the first time. I'd rather be a master of the format. They named Giant with their Cavern. Seeing Cavern is kind of weird. They're just dead. I'm not playing at the Mana Traders, although I would have played it in, I think, but I'm a best man in a wedding this weekend, so can't do it. I have like Stoneforge Mystic decks against the Uro piles, by the way. I think they were pretty good against them. I'm not sure if I want Nexus in this matchup. I like Nexus more when you have more Planeswalkers and we have Ojutai instead. I'll just play 2 Gust. Hey Canister, how's it going? I saw you were playing Mono White Taxes this morning. I was doing some lurking. How did that go? It's Dono Deck Thursday, and our second Dono Deck of the day is the Blue-White Sharkblade deck I've been playing, but with Dragonlord Ojutai instead of Jace. And we're actually 3-0 and up a game in match 4. Welcome, everybody. What's Jeskai versus 4-color Uro? Yeah, 4-color Uro is favored against Jeskai. I cut seas out here. I trim Spreading Seas. Spreading Seas usually isn't great at disrupting their mana, but it's nice to have like those answers to field. Alright, gonna mulligan this. Yeah, Ojutai is the new Jace. It hasn't been bad. Hasn't been bad so far. Holds a sword better than Jace does. Okay, let's keep this put back Remand number 3. Yeah, I was watching some of Nassif's stream this morning too, and the blue-black Rogues deck looks really good. It plays like 2 of my favorite cards, Drown into Lock and Into the Story. Happy birthday, Calvum. Hit him with the Checo. Happy birthday. Well, with a Cavern over there, I think we're supposed to jam the Stoneforge Mystic. Did I put a mulligan? It looks like they did. They mulliganed to 5 on the play. It's not great for them. That is pretty good for them. I think I like playing Stoneforge Mystic again here before they can Cryptic Command my Stoneforge. They also probably don't have an Uro. Oh, they also shocked. What does them shocking mean? They can't charm. Maybe it's hardcast force. Ah, should have figured. Opponent's deck is really good. Cavern is naming giants, so that it's possible that they have. This might just be for Uro, but it's also possible that's for Primeval Titan. I am gonna prioritize using my Field of Ruin on the Cavern, but I'm not sure because I think I'd rather this turn try to have Dovin's Veto up when I put in the sword, and then we can equip with a Veto up, and then if we get the untap trigger from field, we can use the mana from the sword to Field of Ruin the Cavern. This is my working thought process, at least. So they are holding up the shark to chomp here. So if they have land Primeval Titan, there's nothing we can do about it because they left the shark back to block. Because if we Field of Ruin, we can't remand, and if we... yeah, I guess that's about it. I mean, they cast an Hour of Promise last game. It doesn't feel super likely that they have Titan in their deck, but... like, not impossible. They're putting the Blast Zone to 3. Okay, I think we Field of Ruin this. I don't know. Maybe they just do definitely have Titan next turn. We'll find out. Why didn't we play Teferi first? I guess we could have. I just didn't like playing Teferi into all this open mana, I suppose. Maybe we should have, and then equipped. But I didn't think it was going to resolve. Maybe we fight over it and just don't equip the sword this turn. So if they play a Shark Typhoon, if they have another Shark Typhoon, it's a 4/4 Shark, which is kind of scary. All right, let me Dovin's Veto this Force. I think we're gonna get a Stoneforge Mystic on tap. They drew 2 breeding pools again this game. I can't imagine they're playing more than 2. Okay, so I guess they shocked to hold up Hardcast Force that one turn. So as long as we fade Primeval Titan, which it doesn't seem like they have in their hand, I think we're gonna be fine. They discarded a Mystic Sanctuary. We might even beat Primeval Titan too, because we have them on a 3-turn clock. Okay, probably not, but maybe could draw a Sword of Fire and Ice and just kill him if they had Primeval Titan. They're playing their last spell, which is Lightning Bolt targeting me, which resolves. Could cycle Remand. I think I'll just have all the remands. If only we had Tails in to counter that. Why not remand? They can't recast it and would discard it. I mostly think that the remands are really good here. There's Tail's End. I think that just having more remands in our hand is better than not taking 3 life, 3 damage. Like, the bolt just doesn't matter here, in my opinion. We're 4-0 with Dragonlord Ojutai, which is awesome. Should we scoop to conceal the tech? Keep it a secret? Maybe all my decks are bad and I could just 5-0 with anything. That could definitely be the case. If we do 5-0, we're pretty high on the leaderboard. Or, like, we look like we're high on the leaderboard, I guess. Like, really, really behind the actual leader, though. Alright, let's keep this. I think I'm playing... Alright, so it's either Flooded Strand or Sanctuary on turn 1. This guarantees Stoneforge Mystic into Charm, but does make us pay more life to Flooded Strand. And means we can't Path on turn 1 if we want to. And on turn 3, we're probably activating Stoneforge Mystic anyway, so I'll play Strand. And we could draw an island, and this will come into play untapped. But, you know, I say this a lot, but Mystic Sanctuary is really bad in the opening hand, and I don't really feel like people talk about that so often when they're evaluating the card's bannability, I guess. Okay, I think we're getting Sword of Fire and Ice now. This could be an Infect, but I think basically whatever deck this is, it seems like a good matchup for Sword of Fire and Ice. No Blessed Alliance in the deck, although maybe we should be playing one. Can we get a Burn by Sanctuary counter? Maybe, just so nobody ever bans it. Okay, probably not Infect if they're playing Polluted Delta. Some kind of like Bant Stoneblade deck. Don't Time Raveler me, or Fun Raveler me, dang it. Fun has been raveled. I kinda wanna steal the Hierarch. We're 4-0 right now, MTG Daniel. Yeah, stealing the Hierarch looks pretty good to me here. Kind of worried about them bouncing it with Teferi down the line. The other line, I think, was play Sanctuary tapped and play Stoneforge. Yeah, Mystic Sanctuary is just not a free Magic card to play. Noble Hierarch doesn't usually go with Uro and Tef, but I mean, all these cards are, you know, great, of course. So we can play Stoneforge Mystic and Sword, or Stoneforge Mystic, draw 2 with Charm, draw 2 with Charm, see what we draw. Cycle Shark Typhoon, make a 3/3 to attack Teferi. Yeah, I mean, does Bant Stoneblade play Hierarch, though? I mean, I don't know. I don't think Bant Stoneblade is, like, an established enough deck to really say what they definitively do or do not play. Yeah, I think I like Stoneforge and Sword, too. Just wanted to weigh my options here. Maybe it took a little too long. Let's get the other Sword against the Uro deck, I think. But I want to play this one first. Fan of Stoneforge and 1/1 Shark. Maybe that's fine. I kind of like just getting a Sword down. I don't know. Okay. So, do we think they have Force of Negation here? Steal it? Steal it's pretty interesting. Equip Hierarch with Feast and Famine either way. I mean, we have a million options here. Like, if we steal it, we might just equip Sword of Fire and Ice to deal 2 damage to Teferi. You get to draw a card. Well, stealing Germ Token is not a 3-mana attack. It is a 3-mana tax in the sense that it makes them spend 3 mana, but also taxes their Batterskull. Steal Germ and equip Stoneforge with Sophie to kill Teferi. I think I like that. We just have so many options this turn. It's kind of crazy. But I think you're right. I think killing Teferi is better than drawing a card. They also might forget this is theirs because we're a Stoneforge Mystic deck. I'll get Charm back again, too. So many options there. If they're a Stoneblade deck, it's less likely that they have Verdict in their main deck. We'll see. So stealing does not steal both. Stealing the Germ token keeps the Batterskull equipped to the Germ token, but they still control the Batterskull. So they can spend 3 mana to return the Batterskull to their hand if they want to. As Teferi's pretty taxed. They need to find a path to exile, I guess. They just bounce the Batterskull with the Teferi, which I don't love because they just had 3 mana to do. I guess this indicates that they're trying to do something else to interact with this turn. Of course. So let me just attack them with the Stoneforge Mystic and see how they react. I don't think I'm supposed to go in on the Sword of Feast and Famine here while they have 3 untapped mana and we can't react to anything. Yeah, I was kind of expecting them to bounce the Noble. And now I think we just pass. And we're streets ahead. I have an Ice Fang, which resolves. They have 4 cards in their hand. Not too afraid of this Uro escape. I don't think. Yeah, Turtle Power, I agree. That's my biggest complaint about Uro 2, is that Uro is just kind of boring to play against. And play with, too. Just like, is usually the best thing to do with your mana, and the same Uro comes back over and over again. That is my biggest complaint about Uro, but I also don't think Uro is too good in Modern. I think I'm going to use Archmage's Charm, that way I can still like make a 1/1 Shark, and this plays a little bit better around Mana Leak and Remand, which they kind of are representing there. Opponent's playing Bant cards I like, which definitely can't, which I can get behind. So now we get to make a 1/1 Shark, put in the Sword of Feast and Famine with Stoneforge, equip both swords to the Shark and kill their Stoneforge, and untap by mana. And I think that's better than trading the Shark for the Ice Fang, since we need the flying to hit with the Sword of Feast and Famine. This doesn't untap the Hierarch, but that's fine. And they're dead next turn. This is fine. I think I want them to spend the 2 mana to equip to the Ice Fang. I mean, this also just puts them dead on board if they equip and they win this fight somehow, but I will path. But it just puts them dead on board. I guess they're hoping to draw a path off the sword. But we've long since established that sharks hold swords in their mouths. Okay, so they're playing Ice Fang, Stoneforge, 3 mana Teferi, 4 mana Teferi, and Uro. Tails End seems fine. C seems not very good. I don't think it's going to tax their mana very much. Yeah, they're playing Teferi, Master of Time. They're just playing Bant cards that they like, which is fine. Swords in the gills. I guess I'm on board for that. Path seems kind of bad. Like, Path is bad against Stoneforge Mystic, Noble Hierarch, Ice Fang, and it's also just not very good against Uro. Yeah, I don't hate the Veto either. I kind of like some number of Gusts. I think kind of like the first Gust more than like the 4th Path. You have to play some number of Path. But I think I like the first Gust before the 4th Path. And I think I like the other cards too. This is for the 5-0, and we're up a game against what seems to be a reasonable matchup at least. Gonna keep this for sure. No Hierarch is great for us. Yeah, maybe they're just on banned cards they don't hate instead of banned cards that they like. Good point. Turn 2 Stoneforge would be bad. No clean answer to that, but we can also just kind of ignore it for a little bit. Yeah. We like Tails in the Living End trigger. To the Living Weapon trigger. That could be good. It's a pretty bad card advantage, though. They're getting a Sword of Fire and Ice, which does indicate that they already have the Batterskull in their hand, I think. Tails in the Windswept Heath, but then they get to put in the sword and then equip. Guess I hold up Charm. Alright, so this is Batterskull. Oh wow, they just got Sword of Fire and Ice. It's kind of weird to me. I'm not going to Tails End the equip. No, I'm just going to draw 2 instead, because they can just play a land and double equip. I feel like this is fine. And by fine, I mean in some worlds beatable. Love to draw a path. That's a Dragonlord Ojutai. We have to go to discard. I think the Feasted Famine's just not getting there this game. I don't know. I'm going to bounce the Sword of Fire and Ice here. Got double force up, which is kind of good. Why does their Cryptic Command cost 1 mana? Kind of confusing. Now this is a stack. A stack that doesn't favor us. But I guess we won the fight. Get to draw a card, get to slam Dragonlord Ojutai. Remember when we went to discard last turn and now we're just tapped out. I am gonna slam Ojutai. If their turn is play and equip Sword of Fire and Ice, I think that's beatable. I don't think they have another mana leak, although they could. Like, well, I wish I had that sort of Feast and Famine, but there's no way we could do this. And you know, we needed a double force and a land. Trazat, thank you for Twitch Prime. Love to see those new subscribers. Hope you're having a good day today, dude. But Ojutai is resolved. Ojutai is here to save us. I will say Ojutai is better than Jace would be here, I think. How is Uro the play here? I mean, I guess if they have 2 lands, they get to play and escape Uro, which doesn't even seem like good. So they have Path. They're just scared of Ojutai. I would be too if I were them. But I do think we're gonna attack and then fight over the Path. Could counter and bounce the Stoneforge, but I'm just gonna counter draw. I think try to find a path off of Ojutai. Ooh, Ice Fang would be so nasty. I mean, I just don't think we're supposed to play around them having 2 answers for Ojutai here. You know, when you're behind, you need to make high risk, high upside plays. Keep that for Uro, I guess. They are going to put their sword back in and hit us for a decent amount, but we might be able to raise. Yeah, so this is a 3-turn clock for them and a 3-turn clock for us, right? But we can make it a 2-turn clock by cycling a shark. They also, if they wanted to escape Uro, they were not supposed to tap like this. We can also just, you know, we have a lot of looks at a path to exile. Like a genius-sided one out. Tap that Waterlogged Grove. Okay. Not going to remand that. Alright. Okay. So next turn we could steal Noble Hierarch to kill them next turn. Oh, we're dead to Hierarch ourselves, huh? I mean, not that we don't have, just no answer. Okay, there we go. Path to Exile. I'm gonna let them attack first. Maybe I'm supposed to do it. No, just in combat. They haven't had counter spells the last couple of turns, and we can remand our own path again, and still have Charm up. So I'm going to put another Charm on top, and I think I'd rather counter the Queller here. We still have remand our own path and then path again up. Or, remand their spell. They're paying costs. They've got something. Why does my graveyard keep popping out? What's going on? I'm exiting out of it. It's just popping out again. So we could just remand the Queller. Remanding my own path plays around Veil of Summer, though. So let's do that, I think. Because I have Mystic Sanctuary on this deck, I see. How are they also playing Queller? How do you have room for Uro, Stoneforge, Noble Hierarch, Queller, Teferi, Path, Remand? I don't know. They're targeting the Path. This is a stack right here, baby. It would be so weird for them to have 3 pieces of interaction after they've just kind of had a lot of turns where they didn't do anything. It resolved! Alright, baby. I think we're going to 5-0. So now we can steal the Hierarch with our Charm and make them chump block with the Queller. Oh, no, they're not chumping with the Queller because of the Sword Pro Blue. Ooh, no. So do we just not want to put Charm on top? If they equip... If they equip, it's... Oh, no. I think we need to put it on the bottom. We can't put this on the top. Not putting Cryptic on top was a punts? I guess, yeah. I mean, I didn't play around the second Spell Queller. I was playing around, just kind of a generic other counter spell so I could still Hierarch and kill them. Not sure it was a punt as much as it is a play that's going to lose us the game. Damn it. But this was better against any other counter spell because we just get to steal the Hierarch and kill them. It was only good against not Spell Queller. You think we should have just not played around Veil? I guess so, yeah. I should have seen that they were going to kill us with the sword. Missing that was a punt. Why not block with Ojutai? The sword gives it pro blue. We get to play game 3 on the play. Feels bad though, because that game was winnable for sure, and I would love to 5-0 with this deck. This hand's good though. Pretty scared of a turn 1 Hierarch, and not too scared of most other things. Should have said that too, I guess. Can maybe steal it with Charm. Maybe just balance it with Teferi next turn. I would love for them to, play like Uro here and just have me remand it. That's bad. Oh, man. Now Teferi bouncing either dork leaves Teferi dead to the Exalted trigger. Or puts Teferi dead to the trigger. Also casting it into 2-mana Ink Rate. Yeah, I'm going to try to steal the Hierarch, I think. But probably have to do it end of turn. Man, they're just Mana Dorks are their best. Mana Dorks are just such a good start in this matchup. Feels bad. I didn't expect them to be also playing birds. Alright, that card, I think, just resolves. I think it just resolves and we still Hierarch. Yeah, I mean, Ashiok is like maybe good turn 2 on the play, but even on the draw, I should probably say especially on the draw, I'm just not feeling it. I should have stolen before this attack happened, but I'm just going to do it now. Out of impatience, mostly. Alright, I don't know. I don't know. This was not the right time to cast this. Getting a bit flustered. Draw a fetch land. It's not good. They have a counterspell? They didn't want to mana leak the charm. It's kind of surprising. I think I just run an attack Ashiok for 1. Feels kind of bad. We got 3 cards left. They have a card advantage threat of some kind. Kind of like that, I guess. Oh, that's kind of like really good for us, actually. Yeah, Ashiok is on my radar, don't worry. So we're either going to discard a Remand or Batterskull. Let's discard the Remand. Oh, right, they get to untap 4 mana, so they have counterspells up now. Why are they minusing Ashiok? They have another spell. I need to hope that they don't play around Path. I guess I'm also supposed to force the Sword of Feast and Famine. Maybe I was supposed to bounce the Sophie. They are playing around Path. Whoa, they're not. We get to have a Teferi in play, which probably isn't, that relevant. Yeah, Shark is just not doing so much here. I'm gonna get rid of the Sword of Feast and Famine, although maybe I was supposed to bound the Sophie. I mean, we didn't have Force of Negation in our hand, right? Did we? I can't remember. Boy, do I hate Ashiok. Boy, do I hate Ashiok. I drew the Shark Typhoon. Then I guess we should have bounced the Sophie. You'd play the Stoneforge Mystic as a 1/2? I don't think so. I don't know. I think we've just lost. Okay. Well, if they have nothing, we can maybe kill Ashiok here. And draw a Path and then play Stoneforge Mystic. I mean, are they going to chump with the Hierarch to keep Ashiok alive? Okay, well, I'm going to attack Ashiok. We need to kill Ashiok to win this game because Ashiok is the best card in Modern. It's so good you bring it in every matchup, but you never main deck it. I guess I don't think that they're going to... They're just going to block. Are they pathing? Ice Fang. Okay. I concede. Bummer. The game 2 was definitely winnable. I just didn't realize they had the mana to equip the sword onto Spell Queller, and that was my bad. So we could have had a 5 with Ojutai. That was on me. Feels bad. But at least we get to conceal the tech.